what we're already doing today with soulmates is token gating discounts. So whenever you have a soulmates OG NFT, you get up to 25% discount on the sneakers that we're selling. But not only our own NFT we're using, we can also leverage other NFT collections. So we're saying if you own a Sneakerheads NFT or a CloneX NFT or a Space Runners NFT or a Cult and Rain NFT, you get 15% discount. And this way, indeed, it's already a little bit the start of, okay, your digital identity. If you own NFT XYZ or token XYZ, you get different perks or different access to products, communities, giveaways, and so on.
Hello everyone and welcome to the Dear Digital podcast. My name is Sam and I'm your host today for a discussion with Shayli Harrison, the founder of Mutiny, and Nick from the Chalhoub Group, where he is Director of Corporate Innovation. Mutiny is a brand translating as inspirational identities in-game into fashion wearables in digital and physical. The Chalhoub Group, on the other hand, is a hotbed for innovation. They distribute a whole range of brands in the Middle East, such as Louis Vuitton, Dior, Sephora, and Louboutin, to name a few. They are based in Dubai and employ around 15,000 people. Both Shayli and Nick have a lot of experiences around fashion, Web3 experiences, and games or Metaverse ecosystems that are ready to take off and thus interesting to keep an eye out for. This podcast is for everyone who's driven by innovation writ large and loves to think about the future of retail, e-commerce, and how we'll interact with brands in the future. So let's dive into it. Welcome, everybody. Hello to the podcast. Shayli and Nick, thanks for joining. Super exciting to have you both here. Shayli, can you maybe just introduce yourself?
Yes. So, hi, everyone. My name is Shayli Harrison. As you can hear, I'm Australian, but I'm founder and creative director of an Antwerp-based digi-physical fashion brand now actually called Mutiny. So we take inspiration from fandom's favorite characters and popular game titles to produce digi-physical fashion wearables that are more creative, comfortable, and reflective of our inner worlds. So we aim to carve out a space between the traditional merchandise market and the cosplay market, which is only wearable in conferences and online, to create a digi-physical experience for the community that engages the real diversity existing in the game space. So creating a kind of fashion merchandise that's less geek and more chic.
Cool. How did you get into that? I mean, you're a gamer yourself or have been for a long time?
Look, I'm 34. I'm part of a generation that was brought up gaming with the first consoles, So everyone had a Game Boy. We had a PlayStation at home. My favorite game was Buster Groove. I really like dance games and like Guitar Hero and all that kind of stuff. So yeah, definitely a gamer and a lover of the gaming fantasy and the aesthetics. So that's kind of a big influence for me, is that real like fantasy aspect and the magic of the visuals and the storytelling in the game world.
And you're the only one, we were joking before we started, you're the only non-Belgian, but you're the only one that is in Belgium at this point in time. So why are you in Antwerp? Is that connected to the fashion capital Antwerp still is? Or
Yes,
doesn't it have anything to do with
it? Yeah, I mean, that's what brought me here. So I moved from Australia to Antwerp 2013, I think it was, to study up the Antwerp fashion department. And it really was because of that avant-garde spirit, that really artistic version of what fashion is, which is also why I made this transition from kind of the physical fashion space and that more commercial realm into this kind of high creative, gamified version of fashion and into the gaming space. So yeah, there is a natural thread there for sure. And I stayed. It was very hard to go back to Australia because it's quite disconnected from the rest of the world. And I just do find that the kind of creativity in fashion, as well as in gaming, that exists here is really something special. Where you have not only the fashion department, but you also have DAE, which is one of the world's best gaming studies. So there's a lot
I
of
didn't know that, actually.
talent that you can really pull out of this very little place.
Cool. Well, we should maybe go back to Belgium, I guess, Nick.
Yeah, you guys
So
are
let's
missing
transition.
out.
Yeah, let's transition into Nick for a second. So yeah, tell us a bit more about yourself.
So first and foremost, thank you for having me. Very happy to be here. My name is Nick. I'm director of corporate innovation at Chalhoub Group. I'm a Belgian national, and I moved to Dubai 7 years ago. Actually, it surprised me every time I say it. I was going to come to Dubai for 2 years only, like every expat says so. And I ended up staying here. I have a very diverse background, I would say. I started very early. I had my own rap group, and that led to self-publishing our own album, starting our own music label, and then we brought in other rappers and other artists. Then that led to bringing on board DJs, becoming more of a booking agency, hosting our own parties, touring around a little bit here and there in Flanders. And one thing led to the other. We started hosting bigger parties. The people from around the western part of Belgium,
The West Coast.
I
Ah,
still know Star Club and the events, and then that led into taking over a nightclub in Roeselare in Belgium. So I was 19, 20 years old when I had my own nightclub. At that time, already dropped out of school, obviously. But after 1 year, I really knew that wasn't the a sustainable lifestyle, nightlife. So decided to go back to school, finish my degree, rolled into business consulting, and after 6 years of business consulting, I landed a job here at Chalhoub Group. I already relocated for the consulting business to Dubai to set up the firm here in the UAE. And after 2 years of running the local office for Duval Union Consulting back then, um, I uh, I got a job offered at Chalhoub Group as head of growth first, and then the last 2 years or 2.5 years, I'm director of corporate innovation here for the group, and I look after all the new business models for our group. We're the largest luxury retailer in the Middle East, so we run all the Sephora stores, all the Louis Vuitton stores, Dior, Louboutin. We have own concepts like Level Shoes, Faces, which is like Faces is like the local Sephora. Level Shoes is the biggest store in Dubai Mall. We have Christoffel, like a silverware brand. We have more than 200 brands in our portfolio. And my job is to look after new business models for those brands.
Interesting. Okay. Um, Maybe just to double click on the fact that you're there in Dubai, because I think it's of interest for some people, I guess. Like, how is it there? How are things evolving? You've been there now for 7 years. You were nodding your head when I said you have to go back to Belgium, or you should come back to Belgium. How is life there? What is going on? Like, can you just double click on that for a while? I mean, maybe it's a very broad question, but just like a feeling from somebody who lives there, it's quite interesting
Yeah,
to
but
look into for a while.
yeah, I think Dubai is the best place on earth, to be honest. I absolutely enjoy it, and I also understand if people are not big fans of Dubai. I think you either love it or you hate it, and I'm definitely part of the fan club. I think that it's a very big difference with what I was used to in Europe, where you have a very big yalla mentality, is what we call it. It's like let's go, let's do it. There's a solution to every problem, and I think in Europe it's the opposite. That there's a problem to every solution, and there's a reason why it would never work in Europe. While here there's always a way to make it happen, and I really love that. I enjoy it. Yeah, apart from the great weather, in summer it's really hot, but I like the sun over the gray weather in Belgium every day. So yeah, I love it.
The everyday, yes.
It's
Yeah.
it's very fast paced. It's very ambitious. In Dubai, the mentality is to always build the biggest building or to launch the quickest thing or the most expensive thing. So it's always like the level of ambition is always sky high. So there's no point of trying to be or there's no point of aiming for the second place. And I just love that. And yeah, for me in retail, this is Valhalla, right? You have so many stores, so many brands. The customers are so into retail, luxury retail. So I couldn't wish for a better place.
And then maybe just the group itself. How did it start? What is it? How big is it? Like, what's the theme behind it?
So
Or the
the Chalhoub Group is started in 1955. So it's actually it's quite a bit quite an old company, I would say, quite a traditional company. If you look at it, it's a family-owned business, but it's remarkable, or the story is really remarkable if you look at it. So the Chalhoub family started the company more than 60 years ago in Syria, and then they expanded the business year after year after year after year. Now we're already with the third generation in the company already. The group is over 15,000 people now. We have more than 200, I think close to 250 brands now, more than 700 stores. Yeah, it's a multi-billion-dollar multinational, and not only in the Middle East, we also have businesses in Latin America, India, Sub-Saharan Africa, and so on. So we acquired Christoffel yeah, almost 10 years ago. And last year we acquired Thread Styling in London as well, or in the UK. So it's a gigantic group, but it's a silent giant. I think the first two generations were really silent about the name, and they never really wanted to make a name out of Chalhoub Group, really, or like a B2B name. It was really more focusing on the brands itself. I think now, because in retail, especially what we do in distribution and representing brands, you have a threat of brands going direct. And the big question is then, or the $1 billion question is then, what is the value of a middleman, right? Or if you call it like that. And we're very aware of that. So we're constantly looking at, okay, how can we stay the partner of choice for the luxury brands that we work with on the one hand, but on the other hand, how can we create our own equity as a group as well? And the last couple of years, the group has done tremendously well. I think that if you ask, any one of the 15,000 people that work here, if they love the family and love Patrick Chalhoub and Michael Chalhoub and Michelle and the family and without Chalhoub, everyone will, and Anthony, everyone will say, oh, we love the family. So it's we're all fanboys and fangirls, and that shows how people driven we are. On the one hand, and then also on the other hand, how entrepreneurial and innovative we are. I think Chalhoub Group is really known for leading the market, shaping the market, being out there, daring to launch things like we're launching, soulmates and digital sneakers and NFT collections and Metaverse stores and Roblox collections and so on. So, yeah. Again, this is a fanboy speaking, so I'm very, very about Chalhoub Group.
You guys met each other before. Can you say something about why and how you guys met and what you discussed? Maybe Shayli first. Because you were,
I mean, if I remember it well, it was through my co-founder and Nick know each other, and we had actually, have we met in life? I'm not sure. We had a chat, I guess, very early on when we had first started Mutiny, and Nick was speaking about Chalhoub and this ambition to do a shoe-related projects, and we were pioneering the space and doing a lot of sales in digital fashion on different platforms at that time. And it was really an introduction call and to talk more about this idea of building up a shoe brand in connection with some of the Chalhoub stores.
And where did that go, or what was the? I mean, you guys didn't end up working together in the end?
Oh, no, but I mean, that turned into soulmates as far as I understand. So I think, Nick took the reins himself and built up something quite special of his own passions, which I think is was
Nice.
certainly the right move.
Can you say something about soulmates?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think it's correct. We met before when the first ideas of soulmates were distilling in my mind, and as it goes with new projects, you look for new things. You have ideas, you bounce it off, and all of a sudden, it clicks somewhere, and. At the moment that it clicked was when I met with actually an amazing sneaker designer, Cassimi Latamen, a French designer, who creates these amazing viral concepts on Instagram of sneakers. Like when he posts something, he gets like 25,000, 30,000 likes.
Wow.
He's been featured by High Snobiety and High Beast and so on. So my eye fell on his Instagram account, and I had to reach out to him because it was like so viral. The shoes looked so amazing. And I thought at the time, I had the idea of creating some like virtual collections or selling virtual shoes or building a virtual shoe platform. That wasn't really clear yet what I wanted to do or what we wanted to do at Chalhoub Group. But after a couple of discussions with Cassimi, it was really clear that there is a space to empower these amazing designers that cannot create their own or cannot develop their own collections themselves. They are amazing designers. They work for the biggest brands in the world, but they are not empowered to create their own brand or their own product because financial reasons, or they don't want to be bothered by the marketing aspect, the legal aspect, the trademarking, administration, community building, and so on. And we figured, or we saw with Christoffel, that you can actually bring together a community by dropping an NFT collection. So we combined that, where we said if we bring together sneakerheads by issuing an NFT, and they become our soulmates, we can then have that kind of platform, that kind of community, that kind of launch pad for brilliant designers to launch their amazing collections with. Not only two, but also in co-creation. So, in a to summarize and maybe in a nutshell, or to describe what Soulmates eventually turned into in a nutshell, we're what a record label is for music artists, Soulmates is for sneaker designers. So we help them drop their latest new sneakers and collections.
So it is really the case that those designers, they typically don't have their own things. They do collabs with big corporations, but they don't really have their own like shoe or shoe brand or shoe collection. That's like typically how it goes.
Some
Some have, but yeah.
the really big ones might have it, but even if you look at, for example, I think one of the biggest sneaker designers that people might know is Jeff Staple, and if you look at it, he doesn't even have his like own like staple sneaker line or collections that regularly drop. He collabs with other brands. He made the super famous Pigeon sneakers with Nike. You have Saleh Benbouri who works with Crocs. You have other designers that collab with the big brands. And those are the lucky few, because we know these names. I think maybe a lot of people that are listening or tuning in might not even know these people, but there's hundreds or thousands of brilliant designers that never get any spotlight on them in terms of visibility. And even worse, they're not even paid fairly. They just get a very small,
Cut of the sales or whatever. Yeah.
not even they get a flat fee. They get like
Ah,
$300, $400 for their concept work. They say thank you very much, and they take the design, tweak it a little bit, and all of a sudden it becomes a banging shoe that makes 3, 4, 10, 15, $100 million for the brand, and they got $300, $400 for that. And when I heard all of these stories, I thought, damn, this is insane. You have these brilliant designers. They have these. They have a lively community out there. These people are literally asking, when is your shoe dropping? They are working with the biggest brands that are, kind of mistreating them. So why don't we try to fill that gap here? And
Okay.
that's where we we launched.
So that's what Chalhoub will like support, right? This is what you're saying now. This is the concept that you're putting in the market.
Yes, absolutely. So that's what we do with Soulmates. We help these designers with creating their collections, their own great collections. We co-own those brands. The first brand that we're launching is Sirocco together with Cassimi Latamen. It's going live on the 13th of December, if we launch it later, then it went live on 13th of December, and the pre-order is live until the 10th of March. Where people can pre-order the first physical sneaker of Cassimi Latamen. So I'm tremendously proud about that.
Wow, congrats.
Congratulations. Looking forward to checking it out when it drops.
For sure. Are you also a sneakerhead?
Absolutely not.
Shayli? Me neither, actually, so it's quite funny.
No.
So it's quite, I was like listening, I was like, wow, that's interesting. But I really don't have a lot of,
No, I'm a pointy heeled boot head. I have a pretty glamorous collection of cowgirl boots ready to poke some eyes out. So yeah, everybody.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Very nice. Then maybe both of you, let's jump in a bit more to like the Web3 and online stuff. I mean, we discussed or Nick dropped some of the terms already. How did you guys get into that? I mean, obviously, Shayli, you more via gaming and stuff, I guess, or Web3, is that not something that you were like heavily involved in, or is it the typical crypto boom a couple of years ago that dragged you into it?
No, I'm not into trading. I'm not really a numbers gal. I kind of slipped into it through the fashion avenue. So I was building out a digital fashion collection to show with Helsinki Fashion Week, because during the pandemic they pivoted the entire week to digital and recreated all the collections in a digital fashion runway. And they were doing a second round of that. So I was building out this collection, and I was informed that the assets that we create for the collection could be sold as tokens. And I was like, like, what can
Why?
what can I buy with these tokens? Like a drink? I'm confused. So it like just kind of forced me into understanding what am I going to get paid in. And then, of course, that's my aha moment, my rabbit hole moment, right? And I think I'm one of those designers similar to those who Nick just mentioned, who has come from the very exploitative fashion industry and found my way out of it through this technology as a vehicle. I really saw a place for the type of fashion I was creating, which was very fantasy driven, and allowing other designers like myself who create this wild content to find new revenue streams through the game space and through sale of gaming assets. So it was a way that I could kind of tie my style as a designer into an income stream. And of course, this idea of being able to see, track and trace where the creative work goes and flows is very interesting to us as creators, because a lot of our work gets thrown up on other people's storyboards or serves as inspiration for a lot of others, or often does get ripped off by those larger brands. So for us, the level of authorship, for me, that level of authorship also was very interesting to discover, and it's also interesting to watch this evolve as time goes on and put into practice.
And can you drill down a bit more for the people who are not really into this space? So how does that look like a full from A to Z? Like you design something, what happens then? I mean, you put it for sale on a certain gaming platform. I mean, you make an NFT on which chain, whatever. Like more or less in a nutshell, how does that flow goes?
It's gone different every single time because
Probably.
the 2 years has been extremely experimental. And also we've worked with a lot of different platforms, different outcomes. So, for example, if we're selling the assets as individual pieces, then, you take the design, you recreate it as a 3D asset. It gets listed on a blockchain platform. Then you market it and sell it to the community. The buyers then purchase it as an NFT. and then
Where does that typically happen? Where
we've
does
worked,
actual buying, where does that happen?
I mean, we've worked with lots of different sales platforms, so that can happen in game. So we've tested that with games like De-centralized, also non-blockchain spaces like Sansar, um, or it can be on the digital fashion-based platforms that we've worked with, like the Dematerialized. So we basically tested every sales platform option that we could get our hands on because they all work quite differently. They all have different audiences. So we built projects with and for them most of the time. But on the back end, basically, the buyer of the NFT will either transact in crypto or fiat, depending on the platform. It will land in their wallet. There should normally be an unlockable element where they can acquire the file. Usually, we give it kind of terms of use as well, rights of use. And then they can, through instruction, upload it on the gaming platform of their choice. It just depends on the file format in that regard, or if it's an augmented reality filter, it will be like an unlockable link. So it's always been it's always been different every time. We've always built the project based on the different partners between the designer, the platform, and the outcome, whether that's an experience, a 3D asset download, a 3D printable. There's a lot of options there. And then
Sure.
you
And
can see who
go for it.
owns it, basically, and see it publicly traced on the blockchain. And I think that's also something interesting to see and follow, is how it's used over time.
And so, how big is that market at this point in time? Again, is that related to the crypto boom, or is it more like the people in the games, they just love it? It's kind of solves an issue for them and for the designers to cater those gaming markets, or does it really go up and down a bit more with the fashion of crypto and Web3, etc.? Or how would you like see the current state of that industry?
Well, the current state has caused us to pivot our business model. Initially, we really catered purely to the Web3 market, and you'll see a lot of the kind of Web3 based companies moving in the same direction, trying to broaden their market, because the Web3 market in the past, at least for me, I don't know about for you, Nick, it's been quite ambiguous. The audience, like I said, depends very heavily on the platform. A lot of people are buying because they want to be part of something early, they want to own a piece of history, they believe in the project. So it's more of like an investment or a collection. Whereas we want to move now to broaden our scope from this Web3 market into the broader gaming market. So we're looking at working with both blockchain games and traditional games, and we'll tailor the output for those partners. But in the past, it has been extremely ambiguous. And I think that's what's been very difficult. I remember, especially early on, the question of how do you market these things was really big question for most people, because no one had really marketed in this way. We were moving across Twitter and Discord, which most people aren't familiar with. We were so familiar with Instagram, mostly Instagram, for a very long time. So it has been a very difficult space to kind of flesh out. And everything's still in the space of testing and experimentation. And I'm sure Nick has plenty to say on this too.
Yeah, I wonder, Nick, like with all the designers and stuff that you talk to, or all the brands that you interact with, is this still something really on their mind? Does it pop up a lot in discussions? NFTs, crypto related stuff? Not really.
Not really, actually. We have the how do I say it, the privilege or the luck that we're very connected with both worlds. Let's say Web 3 and Web 2, and I wouldn't say that Web 3 is a hugely popular thing yet, whether it's with designers or customers. Actually, I think that it's still very speculative. It's seen as Web 3 is still seen as something like, okay, I buy crypto, I buy NFTs, and I want to get money out of this. And to be very frank, if I look at the majority of people, even that we interact with within our community at Soulmates, the people that bought NFTs of Christoffel, for example, as well. You have a portion of true fans and real brand enthusiasts, but the majority is there to make some money, and they all believe in block, like, let's say the vast majority who is still active today are like real believers in blockchain and are really, are the let's say the OGs, let's call them like that. um, but I think most of the people are there to, yeah, because they believe that there's some speculative value into it as well. So designers, to answer your question, I've never really had designers coming to me and say, "Hey, can you help me create NFTs?" Because this the ABC. Usually, it's the opposite way, where we say, "Hey, like we just heard as well. Hey, why don't we create a phygital or a virtual version? And indeed, you can make more revenue. You can." Uh, you can build your own platform. You can, become your own kind of launch pad rather than relying on other brands and so on. So yeah, it's a very interesting thing to look at. To be honest, and the last couple of months, I've been um, thinking about it a lot as well, because there's a lot of people saying, yeah, we want more utility in this space. NFTs should be more utility driven. There should be more real life value to it. But when you do have projects like that, for example, Soulmates, but there's plenty of others as well that do bring a lot of value in real life. Those are not the projects that are hyped up the most. The projects that are most hyped are meme coins and other like altcoins right now, that give these explosive returns, and highly speculative NFT projects that it might go,
Can 10x, 1000x or whatever, or
yeah,
hundred
indeed.
thousand
So
x. Yeah.
it either goes 1000x or you just lose your money, and
Yeah.
that's kind of
It's
the
gambling. Yeah.
need,
Yeah.
and that's a little bit the paradox that we're in today. You have a small portion of people that are really looking into value and into utility, but then you have a very big portion of Web3 people that are saying that they want utility, but they're just looking for the next meme coin and the next
Sure.
project that's going to moon. But
Yeah.
yeah,
A long time that I didn't heard that term, but yeah,
Same.
it's huge.
wants to create more value and show that we need to go back to the essence of blockchain.
Yeah,
I think that
On-chain verification, authentication, decentralization. I think we're kind of losing the whole point of things.
I wanted to
well,
say, sorry, that I think that like my feeling now is, at this moment that we're talking, there's signals of an escalation in the market. And I think my feeling is that, we've actually had this quiet period that's been free of a lot of hardcore degens. And it's been a really nice time for the actual development of the
to
technology
build.
and
Yeah,
to actually really see who is building and what. And it's been a really inspiring time to see that growth. So I have this feeling like, oh no, now all the cronies are going to come in and cloud up the space with all this
for sure.
speculative hoo-ha. So
The
yeah,
booms and the busts.
I'm waiting
Yeah,
in trepidation.
yeah, sure.
Yeah.
Are there a lot of platforms like Meta or other big companies that are playing into this world as well, and that you think are doing interesting work, or both of you don't really see that? I mean, now we talked about the communities and the people who just want maybe to moon and 1000x their money, whatever. But are there, like you say now, Shayli, I mean, there are also people building, individuals, companies, but what about the big companies? Are they also building towards a certain momentum or towards a certain goal that is clear to you, or isn't that
Yeah,
really?
for
Yeah,
sure. If you think of Tim Sweeney and Epic Games and a lot of what he's been talking about, I mean, he fully backs this idea of the metaverse, and they've been rolling out a lot of interesting creator tooling. Certainly, the guys at Based as Fuck have been like testing and building a lot in that space. So there's really a lot of belief in that being the way to go. And there's so much happening in Roblox right now as well. On that front, you see so
can
much
you
going
tell us
on.
something more about Roblox, because I don't think that a lot of people might know it. This I know, I'm not really a sneakerhead, but Roblox I know quite well. But can you talk to the people that are listening? What is Roblox? Why is it so big?
I mean, I'm sure Nick will know a lot more than me. I don't follow it like, yeah, I don't follow it too much, but I just know that there are a lot of brands building a lot of experiences there that have been very successful. And I also know that, they as game devs have been building out a lot of tools and opportunities to kind of keep that creator economy flowing. Like I know there's these adaptive skins on avatars, and they're bringing in new avatar formats and things like this. So, but yeah, I see it in passing. I've also seen a lot of really interesting reports on the statistics and the numbers of who's playing. It's feels like an exploding area.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that's absolutely true. Like if there's one company that is doing an amazing job right now, it's Roblox, and I think that is like the next Meta or the next Alphabet or Google or whatever. I think that is the next big social network. We've been talking about Metaverse for a while. And the big question was, what is the Metaverse? Where is the Metaverse? While it was there all the time, I think the closest thing to a Metaverse right now is Roblox. The numbers are just bonkers. I think we're very close to 70 million daily active users, over 250 million unique monthly active users in Roblox. And obviously, it's a young demographic, but 40% are over the age of 13, and there's also 20% that are older than 17. And I think what is very, very interesting, I think a lot of brands, or a big reason why a lot of brands are so interested in Roblox, is that 44% of players in Roblox are female, which is never happening in any other game. Usually it's 80% male, 20% female. With Roblox, it's almost 50-50. And the geographical distribution is also very interesting, because almost everywhere in the world, people are playing Roblox or are in the Roblox environment. You can build freely, you can make money, you can sell stuff. It's truly remarkable. And with Christoffel, we created our own collection in Roblox, and it's top 300 right now already in terms of best-selling items. It was profitable after the first day already.
Wow.
Yeah, and so if we tell that to our CFO, all the lights go off, and they say, "Yeah, let's double down on this and let's make it happen." So we are literally, as you can tell from the level of detail that I can bring, we're looking very, very closely into Roblox.
Can I just take a step back then, because you're saying like closest thing to the metaverse? What do you mean with this? Again, let's just be a bit more inclusive also to the people that might have heard about this on the news but don't really understand like concretely why would Christoffel on Earth like sell something on Roblox, right? I mean, how is this even a thing?
Mhm.
Can you
Well,
just say something about that?
yeah, why Christoffel sells something in Roblox first and foremost is there's a very clear strategy with Christoffel. It's a heritage brand, and it's struggling to connect with a younger audience. I think silverware for the generation, like our generation, let's say, it is a thing. I would say still. I think we grew up with. At least I grew up with my grandma and grandfather saying, or my mother saying, it's Sunday, let's get the nice cutlery, or it's Christmas, we can now eat with the nice spoons and the nice forks."
Yeah.
I don't think, and even if we look at research today, that is not really happening anymore today.
No.
I think we kind of experienced that with our parents and grandparents, but we see just from research that we are not taking that kind of behavior and bringing it or passing it on to our kids. We're not on Sunday going to use beautiful cutlery because it's Sunday. Maybe if it's Christmas or another festivity, we would take out some beautiful cutlery, but research is proving us wrong even there. So and to connect with a younger population, we have the strategy of retrofuturism, being very proud about the heritage, but bringing it to the future. I think if you look at what Swarovski is doing, it's also kind of like that, right? Being very proud about the heritage and the history behind the brand, but not being afraid by of kind of making the evolution towards a more vibrant, more of a more vibrant image, younger kind of image, and that's what Christoffel is doing, and this fits perfectly in that strategy.
Yeah, but how, Nick? I mean, if you're saying that we don't pass this on to people, how on earth is it relevant for them that you can buy this heritage cutlery on Roblox? I mean, it's just so interesting. How then you make the move towards, yeah, they want to buy it?
It's a different kind of positioning right now. I think where it was more of a how do I say it, more of an internal grandeur type of thing, where I have beautiful cutlery and let's put it out for the people that come over and visit us. It's more of let's enjoy this moment for ourselves. So it's educating younger customers about or potential customers about what this is and what you can do about it. If you look at, for example, the best-selling item of Christoffel, you have this beautiful mood. It's an amazing silver egg-shaped home decoration piece, actually, with the cutlery inside of it. And it's a beautiful piece that you have at your place as well. So showing this to a younger demographic, that they actually get to know what the brand is all about, make them fall in love with it. Is our best.
But so now you're talking about in Roblox, right? So in the Roblox environment, they have this thing that you're describing.
No, I'm not. I didn't even go into the Roblox thing yet. This is the
Okay.
overall what we want to accomplish with.
Okay. Sorry. Yeah.
This is what we want to, with the retrofuturism. This is what we
Yep.
want to accomplish, or what they want to accomplish with as Christoffel. What we then do as in the corporate or in the innovation department is looking at their overall objective and say, okay, how can we translate that into innovation projects? I think connecting with a younger audience, making people aware of Christoffel, making people aware of,
Hugely important, obviously. Yeah.
and it was very, very clear to us that we had to go into Roblox.
And then so people buy it. So those young people that we were discussing with the percentages they are buying it for their Roblox home, or in the restaurants that they make or create, or
So what we did is we took a little bit of a different approach. We didn't want to push Christoffel, so we didn't say let's go and sell cutlery in Roblox, because that wouldn't work at all. We worked together with a top creator in Roblox, Prince Clothing, and we're creating capsule collections with them. So it's Prince Clothing and Christoffel. They drop apparel and accessories. And this way, it's a slow introduction for these kids to get to know Christoffel, and create a first connection with the brand.
Yeah, from what I kind of have seen is that a lot of brands, when they first started jumping into Web3, it was like a lot about brand awareness and driving the action towards buying the physical product. And now with these types of demonstrations, you start to see a lot of brands recognizing that the actual digital product holds value in and of itself, and that there is value to be made in simply the digital aspect of things, rather than necessarily using it to push the physical product as well. That's a great plus, but there's already so much there in the digital space to work with.
so I want to jump into another small discussion or a big discussion. And I'm maybe going to go on a very small limb here, because I don't talk about this really often. But I just wonder what you guys think about this as well, because I have some friends in Web3 and crypto as well. I mean, I hear things, I read things, and then I'm approaching it obviously from an e-commerce perspective as well. But what I'm wondering with everything that came out, and I don't know if you guys saw the Lex Friedman podcast together with Mark Zuckerberg, where they talk to each other as avatars. Shayli, you're not nodding. You don't know what we're talking about?
I haven't seen it. No.
Yeah, but do you know what it's about?
No, you might have to fill me
So
in.
they're meeting like us, but they actually recreated themselves in a virtual space. So they look really like how they look in real life, and they speak, but the avatar's mouth also speaks because it can understand what I'm saying, what probably my face will look like when I'm speaking.
Yeah.
And so you actually recreate the physical world, like really for the first time, whatever how you want to call it, but in the digital space. And then I was wondering, like from an e-commerce perspective as well. So first, maybe I'm going to take it in steps here, but so first of all, one of the things that I found super interesting, but this was also this was already 1.5 years ago for me, that at a certain point in time, something came up with Web3 and the NFTs and stuff. Is I'm actually kind of an outdoor guy, but I also like the digital world. I mean, I'm in Dear Digital. We're working on making websites and stuff. But for me, it's not really super valuable when it's not really connected to the real world in a sense. I like to surf, I like to ski. And so one of the things that you hear in e-commerce a lot is personalization, right? So you log in as a certain person and then you want a personalized experience, basically. And I'm going to give maybe a dumb example, but I think you will understand where I'm going towards. It's like, imagine that I'm surfing here because now I'm in the south of France. I live close to the ocean. Imagine that I have my watch and I go 50 kilometers an hour on a certain wave here in France. I would think that that would be like connected to a sort of NFT that I can unlock because Sam at this specific break, he went 50 kilometers an hour on his surfboard, right? So I get home and I get that NFT. It's like paired to my digital identity somehow. And we're going to go into that digital identity as well because that's an important topic as well. But then I get home and imagine that I go on the website of Patagonia. I like the Patagonia brand and I want to buy a surfboard or a wetsuit. Then obviously I don't want to log in. And again, we're going to come back to this. I don't want to log in with my sam.reader@gmail.com email address because there is nothing attached to it. It's an email address and a password. What I want to log in with is that Patagonia knows that I, on this break, had a 50 kilometers an hour speed record because then they can tailor their whole website based on the fact that they know that I'm this kind of guy. I'm not a normal guy. I'm just a guy that did that speed, right? And so I want them to cater the wetsuits, the surfboards, etc., that really are close to who I am. And who I am is the things that I have as NFTs in my wallets, in my digital identity. And so I found it so interesting to like think about all of these things. Also, like in climbing or in mountaineering, if you did 5 peaks of 5K of 5,000 meters and you go to the North Face website, yeah, you don't want the normal shoes marketed to you. You want the North Face to know that I'm kind of a big shot, and when I'm on the website, that they tailor the crazy stuff to me, right? And so I just wonder, like, is this like a new social media type of thing where I can really have those things to myself? But then obviously it needs to be agnostic of a system, because what you don't want to have is that you log in with your Google account and they know that I'm a surfer, but my Facebook account, they don't know that I'm a surfer. And then you start to like get into the whole single sign-on thing with your digital identity that really becomes super interesting. So I wonder what you guys think about this. Is this something that has come up or that you have seen before? How do you think?
Oh, gigantic question.
I love it.
Yeah, I think a few things come to mind when you talk about it. Obviously, one is a caution around data visibility and things like that. I think right now, algorithmically, what gets marketed to me isn't accurate, but also I don't necessarily want to be marketed to what I already possess or what I already do. I sometimes like
Can I
to,
just drop in
yeah,
for a second
go
because
for
it's
it.
super relevant?
Yeah.
But what I wanted to also say is like, instead of the marketing that we have right now, it would make then so much sense maybe to keep the chain that I'm actually pointing towards alive, is that I can say, okay, if the North Face wants this information from me, or other way around.
That you
If I
opt
want to give it
in.
to the North Face, yeah, then I get money from them or tokens or
Yeah.
whatever. And 20% of that money goes to making sure that the system is like kept on running, if you understand what I mean.
I get
But
it.
I will not do that if I go to random brand X that I don't want them to know who I am, right? But I have the option to do it if I want to, which makes it like, again, super relevant for me. Now it's not like that. You cannot really choose. If you have ad blockers and stuff, maybe. But it's like super cool that you have control over it, and you just say, yes, this brand can know this, this, and this from me. Not too much, not too little. Maybe if I get to know them better, more, etc., etc.
That'd be great. I think that there is a new social media being built that does run like that. It's called New Life. They've been at it for a long time. So it's kind of Instagram-like scenario where you can opt in or opt out of the feed, sending you stuff algorithmically or non-algorithmically. So it's not a timeline that's based on posting now, then you see it. It can give you anything from any time. So there's not this feeling of, I have to post 3 times a day. Someone can come across your work at any moment. On top of that, all of the profiles are tokenized. So if you like something, the creator gets tokens. And all of the data that goes into building that social media account gets then, for example, sold on to bigger companies like Caring, for example. And whoever created the content basically sees, or the generated the data basically sees a percentage on that sale of data. So they've been building out this system for a long time. I haven't checked up on them recently, but we've always been in good contact. And I think it is, if like functioning well, a really great way to revitalize social media and turn the tables on data and data ownership, because that is at the moment of a huge value that none of the possessors of the data get to see. So I think, like the scenario you mentioned, this innovation really caters for that.
I just love I love what you said, Sam. To be very honest, I think if your friends don't believe in what you're saying, then forget your friends. Then
I have to go to Dubai.
you have a new friend here, because we're definitely also looking into this. I think like it's extremely interesting to have some sort of token based. How do I call it? Commerce, community building activity. If you look at what Starbucks has been doing with Odyssey, for example, I just love it. They have quests or journeys that you can complete as a customer, where you have to buy, or where you can buy 5 of their specialty drinks, and then you get a little badge, and then that badge is actually an NFT, but they're not telling anyone it's an NFT or token or whatever. They just say, do this quest and be rewarded with this badge, and you can actually trade those badges on the marketplace and earn real money. But if you keep those badges, then you can get more perks, and you can unlock other things, and you can unlock new communities and new groups. And I think that for brands, this is super, super interesting. What you said as well, if you then have Starbucks badges, and you have Sephora badges, and you have Louis Vuitton POAPs and whatever in your wallet, then it's a matter of platforms that will start building new platforms leveraging those tokens, right? For example, just a very small example. What we're already doing today with soulmates is token gating discounts. So whenever you have a soulmates OG NFT, you get up to 25% discount on the sneakers that we're selling. But not only our own NFT we're using, we can also leverage other NFT collections. So we're saying, if you own a Sneakerheads NFT, or a Clonex NFT, or a Space Runners NFT, or a Cult and Rain NFT, you get 15% discount. And this way, indeed, it's already a little bit the start of, okay, your digital identity. If you own NFT XYZ or token XYZ, you get different perks or different access to products, communities, giveaways, and so on. So I think we're already seeing this. But yeah, I think that we need a little bit more adoption before it becomes something interesting, and
Mhm.
we'll need a platform that kind of starts building on top of it. And but I really believe in some sort of a, yeah. I think it's going to be wild to see what kind of the possibilities are if we all have these type, even if we tokenize transactions and tokenize products. And then you say everyone who, for example, if you look at Hermes, today you need to go through the special program of Hermes, and you need to buy bag A, B, C before you can get a Birkin bag. Um, if you tokenize all these transactions and the products, it's very easy to say connect wallet. The gates go open and you can just order. Plus, then if you buy that amazing Birkin bag, it will have an NFC, or it will have a QR or whatever. You scan that as well. It's also a token in
Physical.
your wallet. You have the on-chain verification that this is a real item. And then if you ever want to resell it, that you don't need to go through the whole authentication process anymore, because literally it's immutably recorded on chain. So yeah, I think if this is not exciting people in retail, then I don't know what will excite you.
Yeah, and also from like a Shopify perspective as well. So I don't know how much you guys are in the Shopify environment, but they just also like they drag the checkout to them, right? Because it has to be secured and blah blah and updated. But now they actually took the account system as well. So I think they actually want to create this account layer over all of these stores that they have throughout the web, and be like kind of the gateway to commerce on the internet. But then, indeed, if you add an additional layer on top of that, and you can log into all of those stores with your Web3 wallet, and you buy a T-shirt, but that T-shirt is also put on your avatar. If you then go to a game, or if you then have a meeting with the new goggles or whatever, I mean, there is just so much to be said about this. But what I found the most interesting, and so you said that this is actually also already happening, which I thought was the case, obviously, but my question then is, to which chain or environment is it now linked? Because I really think that, or we can extrapolate it and say that all the big current platforms will have those type of wallets that is actually tied to their systems. But then it will be a big business opportunity, like to create kind of a layer that you can match and mix all of those different wallets from all of those different platforms. So that's option A. Or, and that's even more exciting, the real big platforms, they lose out, and you really have a decentralized system where you don't have to, like, oh, I bought something with my Google avatar and now I have to upload it to my Facebook avatar. And so that whole business model is then irrelevant. But you really log in with your own avatar that is always you, not tied to Google or to Facebook. And so I'm really wondering, like, is this a possibility? Is this scalable enough in the systems that we currently have to implement this technically? Or are we very far from this from a technical perspective, and will this never be decentralized because it's just too hard?
I think from a tech point of view, it's possible, but I think it's a bit naive to think that, with all due respect, that huge things are, in my perspective, will always be centralized, because there's just too much money involved, and money is power, and power is centralized, and yeah.
Yeah, I agree.
Okay.
I think that, like, from what I've learned in being in the space the past 2 years, that is, at the end of the day, you still have to rely on the provider. There still has to be a chain, and it's like everyone's been rug pulled enough to know that there can be hacking, like there can be like corrupt people at the top of something that you thought was decentralized. So it's like, unless there's kind of law involved or politics or very hard regulations to keep something fully decentralized, if humanity is involved, like, good luck. But yeah,
But for example, the Starbucks example, on what is it built? We probably know, right? But it's a centralized system where you just gamify the kind of the things that we just explained. Or do we actually know?
I don't know actually.
I need to
Yeah.
check. Actually, I don't know by heart what system or what chain they use.
Mhm.
But to be honest, if you look at, for example, the luxury brands, they started a consortium, and so LVMH is working together with Prada, with Cartier, with Mercedes Benz, with OTB. what they've done is they launched Aura blockchain consortium
Mm.
to create their own private chain, but to have that kind of scalability within luxury brands, where all of them use the same chain, same technology to make it more scalable yet private. Because they say that they use the thing of luxury customers also want their own privacy, and if it's decentralized, it is open. So that's also the paradox. We don't want to share our data. However, if we store anything on the decentralized chain, everything is also
Yeah,
transparently available.
exactly.
Yeah.
So
You,
in a 100% decentralized world and a transparent world, we would all know how much everyone owns as well. Or you could track everything. So how much of privacy do you then? Okay, you don't have. It's not linked with your whatever, with an email address or with your identity. But I think it's only a matter of time before that happens. Then so.
mm.
Yeah,
Um,
The
cool.
EU were
Well,
working on a decentralized identification system, as far as I knew. But also, I think there's potential for a lot of like decentralized industry related threads. So, for example, I've been speaking recently to Laura from Lablaco, who have their Spin platform, which is supported by European Union. They have a trick project, and basically, it's kind of a decentralized pipeline for the fashion and apparel industry, where you can list something on chain, purchasable in fiat or crypto, but then when the buyer purchases it, it's also NFT linked, trackable, and traceable. You have a kind of world map view of where your stock is at any given time, how it's traded, who it's traded by. So you have a kind of a radar and a track on your stock and your workflow, and you can verify that workflow. So I think just kind of creating really visible pipelines from industries where you have lots of different parties who all have to work together very seamlessly and transparently. I think that has huge value, especially with things like sustainability, because then you can see, okay, like that sweater, everyone's selling it immediately secondhand. We shouldn't produce that sweater anymore. You can really
mm.
really transparently understand the value of your products, the lifespan of your product, and all those things. So I think starting to see things like that happen is really promising. It's not like a fully decentralized system from start to finish, but if you can adapt an entire industry in that way, I think it has huge potential.
Well, I'm super excited to see all of this unfold for sure. And also, like the physical and the non physical world getting intertwined, I think that will be huge for me personally. I'm kind of like I said, an outdoors guy. So I would be really happy to see all of those things also become a little more of yeah, gates to open some doors, or like opening some locks for me in the digital world. That would be really cool. So if anyone listening to us as well has the same idea, they can probably reach out to the three of us because it's super exciting. Is there anything that we are missing at this point in time that both of you really wanted to talk about still, or have we covered a lot of ground already?
Oh, so much ground. I say Nick, Starbucks is on Polygon. That's great. You also mentioned Shopify, which I thought we've actually worked with the Shopify Venly app integration, which is also interesting. It's a very like neat backend NFT application with the
Mhm.
traditional Shopify interface. So I think also these types of efforts where you have a very seamless user interface, something very familiar, but then you have the data tracking on the back end is really nice. And I think that's also why the Starbucks project works so well, is because it's under the radar in a sense.
Yeah, I understand what you mean. It's just the user experience and the user interface is just good, and what it's powered by, nobody really gives a fuck, right? If I
Yeah.
mean, if it's well done and if it just works.
Oh, better beep that out.
Yeah, we have people to beep it out, so it's fine. No, but I think it's true. Maybe, but that's classic, I guess, right? In the beginning phases of technology, it's the people that understand the technology that really go out and spread the word. But then everybody's like, okay, but no, not a technologist. I'm not really interested in how you frame this or how you build it or what does it build on. And then it transitions into more interesting stuff for the other people that are not so technologically savvy. So that's interesting to see for sure. Cool. We've discussed a lot of things that we're excited about, but maybe we can nearly wrap it up with a question. It could be a long question as well. What are you guys excited about personally and in the world? I guess the whole episode was about that, I guess. But if you can nail it down, that would be nice.
Well, I mean, just off the back of what I last said about what Spin are doing, for example, but I'm quite excited about the sustainability potential for product pipelines. That kind of in combination with the ESG laws here in the EU. So laws coming into practice with a lot of regulations for the fashion industry, for example.
That you have to own your full life cycle, right, of the product?
Yeah. And I'm excited about that. It's going to shift and change a lot of things in the next few years, hopefully for the positive. I mean, we won't know until it's put into practice, but I do think that's where I see a really practical and impactful application of this type of technology. It feels possible, it feels tangible. And I think we've been in quite a speculative space over the past few years, and we're starting to feel those real utilities, as Nick mentioned, those real world applications start to come to fruition, as well as the first launches of a lot of blockchain games coming up over the next year or two. Games take a long time to build and develop, and we won't know how successful they'll be until we start playing. But it's going to be a real game changer to see how these systems affect gameplay, affect the community. So yeah, it's just going to be a very interesting next couple of years, I think.
Are you playing one of those games personally?
So I have played in Illuvium, which is really fun. Yeah, it's kind of
That's one when we say to the moon. This is
to the
really
moon.
to the
It's
moon.
a beautiful game, and it's like a really surrealist
Really?
riff
Cool.
on Pokemon in a way, but also, there's a lot of world roaming. It's just conceptually, visually, a beautiful game and
Wow.
very easy to learn and jump into. So, yeah, shout out to the Illuvium crew.
Interesting. So you're playing that as well, Nick?
A little bit, but I'm more into Roblox right now. I'm very much interested in Illuvium because I believe 100% in the project, and I think what we're seeing in the graphs, the US dollar price of Illuvium, it has huge potential, and it's doing really well. So I think it's a stellar project. The team is super solid. What they do is amazing. I myself, I'm much more into Roblox nowadays, and into sneakers, obviously, with soulmates. But we're doing a bunch of things. That's the cool thing about the job in innovation, that I get to have a buffet every day. I don't have to choose necessarily. I can literally wake up. I did this morning. We did some generative AI work to then work on the token gating for soulmates. Now we're
See?
having
What a day, man.
now we have a podcast.
Busy boy.
So this is it's very cool to do that. And what I'm excited, to be very honest, I think there's a lot of stuff to, on the one hand, to be excited about, but there's also a lot of stuff to be a bit fearful for, and a little bit scared about for next coming years as well, because I also think that the next couple of years might not be the most rosy years that we will see. I think if we I think we all understand what is happening around the world right now. So I do think that the next couple of years can be quite tough times as well. And I think that trying to stay as positive as possible is very important. But I also want to highlight that we all have a responsibility towards peace globally, and I think that we need to be mindful about that, and we need to speak up whenever we have to speak up against crime, against injustice around the world. And I don't think that we're doing that enough. But I'm not going to go into politics here too much. But I do think that we all have a responsibility towards what's happening right now.
Maybe we should do a podcast about that as well one day.
About that.
It's important.
Nick, are you still rapping from time to time? Sorry.
I'm not rapping anymore. My schedule is way too full with innovation projects and doing some fitness. So rapping is on the back burner.
Okay.
Aww.
I'm avoiding the follow-up question.
No. Shayli, sorry, I interrupted you. What were you saying?
Oh no,
when
I was just
talking
going to
about
say that's really important that you brought that to this conversation, Nick, and used the platform to say, because it's very, very right for this moment to highlight that. Yeah.
Well, both of you, thank you so much. I really, really enjoyed it. I never met you guys before, and it was such a cool discussion. So thanks a lot for your time, for your effort and insights. I really, really enjoyed it. So have a great day and a good weekend, and talk to you soon.
Yeah, my pleasure.
Thank you so much. Enjoy your waves in the south of France.
Yeah, enjoy your waves, enjoy your innovation and fitness. And I'm gonna enjoy a glass of wine this evening, I guess.
There you go. Awesome.
Enjoy.
Okay, good luck. Thanks so much for listening. I hope you enjoyed it. I was invigorated by this discussion, to be honest. It was so cool to meet Nick and Shayli, and I'm so thankful for their time. If you have any questions around this topic, please reach out to us. You can find us on LinkedIn or via email, or just hook us up via our website. Please do, if you're interested in these discussions. Again, thanks so much for listening, and see you soon. Ciao.